Welcome to Hashatnagar Digital. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates tonight. We turn to a story of rising tension on the high seas, where the fate of nations and the future of international law are being tested. The South China Sea, a vast expanse of blue, has become the epicenter of a geopolitical storm, one that could reshape the balance of power in Asia and beyond. At the heart of this storm is a single piece of paper, a newly published maritime map from the Philippines. But this is no ordinary document. It's a bold declaration, a symbol of defiance, and it's making waves across the globe, from diplomatic halls to bustling ports. The Philippines has taken a historic step by releasing this map, directly challenging China's sweeping claims that stretch across nearly the entire South China Sea. For years, Beijing has asserted control over these waters, building artificial islands and deploying Coast Guard vessels to enforce its claims. But for the Philippines, this isn't just about lines on a chart, it's about defending its sovereignty, protecting its fishermen, and securing vital natural resources like oil, gas, and fish stocks. It's also about upholding the rule of law in a region where might often makes right. The stakes could not be higher. The South China Sea is one of the world's busiest trade routes, with trillions of dollars in goods passing through each year. Whoever controls these waters holds sway over global commerce, regional security, and the future of Asia's economic growth. Manila's move is not without precedent. In 2016, an international tribunal in The Hague ruled overwhelmingly in favor of the Philippines, invalidating many of China's expansive claims. Yet, despite this legal victory, the struggle for control has only intensified. By releasing this new map, the Philippines is sending a clear message to Beijing and the world: it will not back down. This is a line in the sand, a public assertion of its rights, and a rallying cry for international support. As tensions mount and naval vessels shadow each other in these contested waters, the stage is set for a high-stakes confrontation. The world is watching, as the Philippines stands firm in one of the planet's most vital and volatile waterways. To truly grasp the roots of today's tensions in the South China Sea, we need to journey back through decades of history, where maps, politics, and power have collided time and again. The story of the dashed lines is not just about geography, it's about national pride, shifting borders, and the struggle for control over one of the world's most strategic waterways. China's sweeping claim over the South China Sea began in 1947, when it published a map featuring a series of dashes, originally 11, later revised to the now infamous 9-dash line. This ambiguous boundary, drawn with little international consultation, covers nearly 90% of the South China Sea, an area rich in resources and vital shipping lanes. Over the years, this line has become a symbol of China's growing ambitions and its willingness to assert historical rights, even as the world around it changed. But China's claim doesn't exist in a vacuum. The South China Sea is bordered by several nations, each with its own exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, as defined by international law. The Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei all have overlapping claims, leading to a tangled web of disputes. For these countries, the sea is not just a body of water, it's a lifeline for fishing, energy exploration, and national security. In 1982, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, established clear rules. Coastal states are entitled to a 200 nautical mile EEZ, granting them rights to resources within that zone. However, China's historic claims, based on old maps and ancient voyages, ignore these modern legal boundaries. This fundamental disagreement has fueled decades of diplomatic standoffs and confrontations at sea. In 2013, frustrated by repeated incursions and standoffs, the Philippines took a bold step. It brought China to an international tribunal in The Hague, seeking legal clarity. After 3 years of hearings and deliberations, the tribunal delivered a landmark ruling in 2016, siding with Manila. The court declared China's 9-dash line had no legal basis under UNCLOS, and that Beijing had violated the Philippines' sovereign rights. Yet, China flatly rejected the ruling, calling it null and void. Instead of backing down, Beijing doubled down, expanding its presence by building massive artificial islands, installing military facilities, and sending Coast Guard ships to confront Filipino vessels. These actions have transformed the region, raising fears of conflict and environmental destruction. The situation escalated further in 2023, when China released a new map, this time with a 10-dash line, extending its claims even closer to neighboring shores. The move sparked outrage across Southeast Asia, with ASEAN leaders and the international community condemning what they saw as blatant disregard for international law and regional stability. Despite the Philippines' legal victory and growing international support, China continues to enforce its claims through sheer presence and power. Filipino fishermen face daily harassment, Coast Guard patrols are shadowed by larger Chinese vessels, and diplomatic efforts often stall. As the struggle for the South China Sea intensifies, the Philippines is left searching for new strategies to defend its rights and secure its future in these contested waters. The conflict has moved from maps to dangerous real-world confrontations. In September 2025, Chinese Coast Guard water cannons damaged a Philippine vessel near Scarborough Shoal, injuring a crew member. China accused the Philippines of illegal entry, but Manila dismissed this as propaganda. Earlier, at 2nd Thomas Shoal, Chinese forces blocked a Philippine resupply mission, prompting a U.S. warning. China uses its Coast Guard and maritime militia to intimidate and restrict Filipino access to their own EEZ. Each encounter is a test of will, with the risk of open conflict growing. The waters are simmering, and the stakes are rising. In a bold and historic move, the Philippines responded to China's controversial 10-dash line by unveiling a new national maritime map in 2025. This was not just a technical update, but a powerful statement of sovereignty and intent, broadcast live from Manila and watched by millions across the nation and the world. The map meticulously outlines the country's territorial sea and exclusive economic zone, boldly labeling the waters as the West Philippine Sea. Every line and label is a deliberate assertion of the Philippines' maritime rights, leaving no ambiguity about the nation's stance. This cartographic counteroffensive is firmly anchored in international law, specifically the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, and the landmark 2016 Arbitral Award. By translating legal victories into official policy, the Philippines transforms abstract rulings into concrete, actionable boundaries. The new map is more than a document, it's a tool for governance and education. Government agencies now use it to guide patrols, resource management, and policy decisions. In classrooms, students learn about the West Philippine Sea, fostering a sense of ownership and pride. For ordinary citizens, it's a daily reminder of their nation's rights and the importance of unity. On the international stage, the map serves as a diplomatic instrument. It has been formally submitted to the United Nations, presented at global forums, and brandished during protests against Chinese incursions. Philippine officials use it to rally support and clarify their position to the world. For China, this map is a direct and public rejection of its sweeping claims. It's a challenge, backed not just by national sentiment, but by the weight of international law and global opinion. Now, the burden shifts to Beijing to justify its expansive narrative. The world is watching as China is pressed to respond, not just with rhetoric, but with legal and diplomatic arguments. Ultimately, the new map is more than lines on paper. It's a declaration of rights, a rallying point for the Filipino people, and a symbol of enduring national resolve in the face of external pressure. The new map has sent shockwaves across the Indo-Pacific. Manila's stance is now more assertive, prioritizing legal rights over appeasement. China has responded with sharp rebukes, escalating the war of words. The move has galvanized regional solidarity, with Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia watching closely. ASEAN faces pressure to take a stronger stand while the U.S. reiterates its defense commitments to the Philippines. The map clarifies where U.S. treaty obligations might apply, raising the stakes for China. But Manila risks economic retaliation and increased military pressure from Beijing. The diplomatic landscape is shifting, forcing all regional players to reassess their positions. The South China Sea is a global economic artery. Over $3 trillion in trade passes through each year. Any conflict here could disrupt supply chains and raise costs worldwide. For the Philippines, the West Philippine Sea is vital for food security and energy. Chinese fleets and militias have made fishing dangerous and depleted stocks, hurting local communities. The seabed holds oil and gas, but exploration is stalled by the dispute and China's presence. The new map signals Manila's intent to assert its resource rights. China's island building has destroyed coral reefs, threatening fisheries and long-term economic health. The environmental and economic costs of this conflict will be felt for decades. Facing Chinese aggression, the Philippines is strengthening alliances. The U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty has been reinvigorated, with expanded U.S. access to bases. Joint patrols with the U.S., Japan, and Australia send a clear deterrent message. Japan and Australia have provided new patrol vessels and training, boosting Philippine capabilities. Canada and others have joined exercises, showing global concern over China's actions. This web of partnerships makes it harder for China to isolate any one nation. Integrated deterrence combines Philippine resolve with allied support. Joint exercises demonstrate collective resolve and readiness. Experts praise the Philippines' use of lawfare and alliances to counter China. Manila's strategy is seen as a model for middle powers resisting coercion, but the risk of miscalculation is high. China is unlikely to back down and may escalate gray zone tactics. Without crisis communication, minor incidents could spiral into conflict. Regional cooperation, like intelligence sharing and joint patrols, is gaining traction. The greatest fear: a clash that draws in the US and triggers a wider conflict. The region is on edge, and the path forward demands firmness, diplomacy, and allied unity. The Philippines' stand is a defining moment for the world order. The question, will rules or raw power decide the future? China will likely respond with more pressure, patrols, condemnation, and economic coercion. The Philippines and its allies must remain resolute, documenting harassment and strengthening defense without provoking war. The world can't ignore this story. Global stability and the rule of law are at stake. Defending these principles requires action, not just words. The outcome will shape the region and send a message about the world we live in. The story is far from over. The world is watching.